The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for an adult audience only. It may contain sexually oriented content. Content may not be suitable for sensitive listeners. Please be aware of your surroundings. Listener discretion is advised. Watch out.
Start us in Late Night Legends Internet Podcast Radio Show, the finest content on the interwebulous stratosphere. If you're watching us, you're watching with our two new hosts, and we're probably going to have a third new host. It's probably going to join us next time. Tonight we have special guest Cyn Shrader coming on, or Cyn Shrader Hill, I should say. I got the order of those wrong. But we're really excited to be coming back with you guys. I know that we kind of took a month off and changing things up, changing staff up, but going forward, you have these awesome new hosts. Do you guys want to say hello? We usually like to have a show that's like an introductory show, but we didn't do that this time. So welcome in, guys. Did you want to say anything to listeners, or do you want to just jump into stuff?
Kim, do you want to say something? Because you're a more familiar face than I am, so.
Yeah, hi, I'm Kimberly. I've been on 2 shows before. I'm the one who had weird stuff happening in the farmhouse, and then also live in a small town with a creepy cemetery and backstory. So that's me.
And I am Joan. I have not had so many creepy things happen to me, but I am interested in creepy things that happen to you and everybody else. So.
It's really funny because, like, I honestly, when I talk to people, they just assume that creepy things happen to me. I'm like, no, actually, I want to believe. That's the camp that I'm in, where I really want to see something, anything to justify what I'm doing with this podcast. It would be nice. So right now, just a fan of the paranormal. And then we have James.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I'm still here.
The most amazing guy ever.
That's a big upsell. That's an upsell.
But I would say it's also very reasonable too.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, so just in the podcast realm of things, Joan is also joining us on Super Bowl, so you can catch her there as well. And yeah, let's go forward. Tonight we got Cyn Shrader Hill. What do we know about her? Did you guys check her out at all and look at some things, or are you gonna play it more like learning about her for the first time?
I did some cursory. I went to her paranormal investigations website, which was really fun. And that was about it. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. My anxiety manifests in me doing over research for everything. So I went to Amazon pages and LinkedIn, as well as the website and Facebook.
LinkedIn. Ooh.
I did do the LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is a weird place. It's a weird, strange place. I don't know. It's strange because, like, I guess what's strange about it to me is, like, I get people on there that, like, check my profile because it'll tell you, like, who's there. And,
yeah, I do like it when they're like, someone viewed your profile, and I'm like, who's stalking me?
Okay. So we got Cyn is about to sign on. James, can I ask you to kind of give her the intro a little bit while I look at things here on my side?
Sure, I am out. Sorry, my dog is trying to aggressively attack my leg.
Oh.
No, not the new throw blanket. My wife just bought a bunch of throw blankets. Okay. All right. So
all right. I'm going to get Cyn in, say hi, and I'm going to check things out here on my side. Cool?
Yep.
Cool.
All right. She's officially admitted to the meeting.
Hello, Cyn.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to Late Night Legends. We want to welcome Cyn Shrader Hill, right? Shrader Hill, right? Great.
Yes.
Author, paranormal investigator from down in Tennessee, and we're really excited to have you on the show tonight.
I'm more excited to be here than you're excited to have me.
I don't know if that's true. We're about to find out. All right, I think that's a segment coming in later on tonight.
It's a fight, actually. We're going to have a fight, live fight.
I'm up for it.
I love it. Anyone who's ready.
Well, all right. I think Frank's dealing with some little technical difficulties here, but we are so happy to have you here on the show. We all kind of took varying degrees of time looking you up beforehand to get a sense
did you?
of yes. I believe, like we said, like various different levels of preparedness. But I personally was very excited to hear about Elk Valley Paranormal Investigations. That seems very exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience and how you founded that?
Yeah, actually, I am late to the game. I just got started ghost hunting in 2013 and didn't know how to go about it other than what I saw on TV, and we know how all that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I joined a group. They came down to investigate my mom and dad's old store, and I was hooked that first night. So, they actually asked me to join them, and I became their case manager and found places for us to hunt. And the whole time I'm thinking, I want my own group, and all that good stuff. But what happened when they came down, my dad had died in '01. And in 2013, when they came down, I wanted to see if he was still at the old store. They had closed it years before this. All the utilities and everything had been turned off. There was nothing on. My husband had gutted it, so everything was out of it. There was nothing there. He went down there with me, and he is not a ghost hunter. He is not a paranormal person. He is not an author. He has not anything to do with this at all. But bless his heart, he comes with me, and he's a trooper for that, and I really appreciate him for that. So I got to
We
give him
love
props.
a supportive husband around here.
Oh, and he carries my books for me and all that kind of stuff. So he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. But we were just talking in the dark down there after the group took a break, and a rock got thrown. Kind of like, hey, you can't be taking a break. I was ready to talk. So, the ones that were inside fixing their cameras went running outside going, you guys got to come back in. You got to come back in. And so all the ghost people came back in. It was Ghost Hunters of Southern Tennessee, James Jones and Wayne Baker and all my buddies. They came in and started up right away. And the whole night, I just kind of stood in the dark as the trigger object to see if my dad was still there. So, hey, Dad, I love you. I miss you. Are you here? That kind of thing. The only place, other than that rock that got thrown, the only place their lights lit up was exactly where his chair had sat in his office for over 30 years. So I thought that was interesting. And then they only got 2 EVPs, which, that kind of hurt my feelings, but that's okay. They had holy mackerel, which nobody in my family had used. Okay. This building had been in existence since the late 1800s. In the basement, it started out as a turkey slaughterhouse, and then the second floor got added, which became the first floor after the road got built up, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. And so our whole town has an underground area. You can't get into it.
So do we think it was one of the turkeys that was on the EVP?
They caught turkeys gobbling in the basement.
All right. So you're here saying that you can have turkey ghosts.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
And it was not their best day in the world ever.
No.
Right? Because slaughterhouse, they were just getting ready to be jumped into those vats, and the vats were still there at that time, and the hooks on the ceiling, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
So those poor turkeys it just wasn't a good day for them.
I didn't think Thanksgiving could get any more awkward, but thank you.
Now we know that their spirits linger, and
yeah. and turkey ghosts are around.
Unpopular
so
opinion. I
after-
actually don't love turkeys on Thanksgiving. Sorry, I didn't mean
It's
to
not my
derail
favorite.
us.
Oh
No,
my
it's not.
gosh.
It's for what it's worth. They're not that great. I'm just saying.
It's the sides. It's all about the
It's
sides.
all about the sides. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry about that.
and as long as the turkey's not dry, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's fair.
What the gravy's for?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's something you said earlier about how, we all know that what we see on TV for ghost huntings. What would you say is the like biggest, not misconception, but what is like the one thing from like watching the ghost hunter shows to actually doing it in real life that you're like, they were doing it wrong. This is what you got to do.
Well, I mean, the main thing is that you are not going to get everything from history and talking to everybody and your investigation, your reveal, and everything in 40 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and that's what people expect when they call you. And I've had 2 this week. I have a demon in my house. No, you don't. No, darling. You don't.
You've got some bad pipes.
Bless your heart. No, it's not a demon. It's just Uncle Francis is mad that you still have his ashes in the closet. It's not a demon, y'all. But being in the Bible belt, we have to wrestle that one all the time. And then we're up against the church going, well, you shouldn't be talking to demons anyway. Well, I'm not talking to demons. I'm not. But talking to them is what my story here. So after COVID, my stories are like this.
Mhm.
And so if I get like that, you just reel me back in.
No, you're
Okay.
fine.
Just
I'm
say,
like
"Go
that too.
ahead."
This is great.
Well, the EVP came from because I love the voices and I got interested in finding the voices. So electronic voice phenomenon, Elk Valley Paranormal just kind of went perfect for me. And everything down here in Tennessee, in this little middle Tennessee town just north of Huntsville, Alabama, is Elk Valley this, Elk Valley that. So paranormal just kind of fit. And I started bringing in people that were like me, but had different ways to go about it. Like Sean, my co-founder, is the best skeptic I found. He's not as skeptical now as he used to be.
Mhm.
That's how
Because
it goes.
he's seen a lot of things, and some of the things have made him want to change his drawers a couple of times. But that's kind of what you hope for on the investigation, though.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, seeing that on your website that you're there to prove or disprove, like, I feel like there are a lot of these paranormal societies who come out and are like very one-track focus. Like, we're here to prove it. And the fact that you guys do have that skeptic kind of background as well, I think is, lends a lot of credibility to the operation.
Well, and I think you gotta be skeptical. You have to, because there's just so much going on. We've got so many things that will activate our equipment even. If you don't have your cell phone on airplane, that's going to give you some false positives.
Oh,
People
okay.
don't understand that, and they will download these apps on their cell phone. And my verdict is out on apps anyway. I'm not thrilled about them.
So you mean the ghost hunting 4000
yeah,
app is not
Yeah.
great? Don't use that.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not saying, against any of them in particular, but I haven't found one that I like yet. I'll put it like that. And but I do have, there's Chrissy on my team swears by one of them.
Oh,
And
Okay.
it's one of the ones that spits out the words like an ovulus.
Okay.
And I mean, she does not go anywhere without it. And that's her deal. That's fine. I have a couple more friends that use one of those like that, and they wouldn't be without it. So I think as long as if you do use an app, you probably need to make sure that you're getting some readings on your other equipment at the same time to get a verification there.
I would think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask, how often do you go somewhere where somebody swears that there's paranormal activity happening, and after you do your investigation, you just say, I don't think there's anything here?
Oh, it's rare with everything that we've done since 2013, or actually since 2014 when Elk Valley Paranormal became. Um, it's been really rare that something has actually been tormenting the people like they're saying, and we can actually get a little bit of proof of
Evidence.
something paranormal, something outside the norm is happening with these people. It is not electrical. It is not the plumbing. It's not a draft. It's not dust. It's. I had this one woman send me a video that she says something is outside my window. It's a drone. No, it can't be a drone. It's got eyes. It's the lights on a
Wow.
drone. It's the lights on a drone. I'm so sorry. No, we just moved here. It's got to be something.
Is there a teenage in the
I'm
neighborhood?
so, and not just
Mm-hmm.
teenagers. I mean, there's some creepies out
Yeah,
there,
that's fair.
and yeah, there's drones everywhere now, and she just did not want to accept it and got really pissed at me. So I'm sure she went to another group and asked them, and I don't know what they said. And this is ugly, but I don't care what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think if you
'cause
run your
that was-
operation with integrity, then, what other groups say is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I love working with groups, though. We've worked with several, done co-investigations, and I love it. You get to learn different ways to investigate. You get to like their take on something. What you hear in the spirit box, they might hear something completely different at the time. And it's nice to have people like that want to co-investigate with you. So we've done several of those with different groups. There you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog has been behaving very inappropriately lately.
Not TOS safe.
Not on screen, not
No.
NSFW. So
No.
we're had to excuse him from the room here.
So you mentioned being in Tennessee and also being in the Bible Belt. Now, Tennessee also falls under Appalachia, which commonly has folklore and folktale of its own. How have you how do I put this? Have you encountered the marriage of that Bible Belt feeling as well as the mysticism of like folklore within that? And has that ever appeared in the ghost hunting as well?
Like that good old holler vibe.
Yeah.
There's holla vibes everywhere around here. And as far as folklore, are you talking about like area stories that come up and things like that?
I think the biggest thing that has come around recently, as of now, like when I go onto YouTube and look at compilations, is a couple of people talking about like, don't do this while in the woods. Like if you hear your name being called, don't go towards it. If you don't look in the trees, especially if you see eyes looking back at you. Mysticism such as there's something out there usually, but it's just because it's Appalachia is usually the excuse given.
I mean, and I would say, is it an owl in the tree? I mean, there's animals everywhere. It's going back to being skeptical.
Mhm.
It's just going back to being skeptical. There's people that are never going to believe a thing you say because they know what is happening in their house. And we can't change that. We're not going to fight it. If they want to think that's a 5-headed demon that comes to see her every night for coffee,
So be it.
you
Better
know
put out
what?
sugar.
Yeah.
But Yeah, because that one needs a little sweetening up. But
There's a question I've really been enjoying asking a lot of our guests, and it's along that line of like skepticism, but of all of the lore, out of all of like the ghost hunting and the paranormal, what is the one thing that you're like, you know what, that's where I draw the line. I can't buy that. Like, what's the lore or the myth that you're just like, take it or leave it?
I don't think there's one yet. Because I tell you, I don't know enough about cryptids.
Mm,
So I would point in the cryptid direction because I don't know that much about it. I'm learning from being on the podcast, these people coming on and talking to us
mhm.
a little bit at a time. But I'm an idiot, honestly, when it comes to cryptids and even Bigfoot. I mean, right down the road, we've got a sign that says Bigfoot crossing. He's been seen so often. This is like within 2 miles of my house.
Mm-hmm.
And so, these people have seen something. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen him, and I don't know if I'd like to. I mean, I kind of like to be behind a glass or, bulletproof, or I don't know, something safe, and be able to say, oh my God, that is Bigfoot.
I would say you're not an
Before he,
idiot about cryptids. You're just not well read.
Yes.
I am not. I certainly am not. But it's nice to learn, and that's what we're all doing, is learning every day about something new and what catches our interest. And that's what makes all the podcasts so interesting, because we all take different views of the different topics, and it just makes it fun. You learn something and it's fun.
So you said you came to this back in 2013, kind of like later. What was was there an inciting incident? Like, what was it that then sort of crossed you over from like being maybe just a little bit curious to like, I'm going to look at this?
I had things happen to me all my life, and I didn't understand what it was. From deja vus to severe panic attacks because I was taking on people's energy and I did not know that. And I didn't realize that, honestly, until about 15 years ago. And so panic attack after panic attack, and we're talking 3 of them emergency room panic attacks, because my heart felt like I was dying. It was heart attack. You can't breathe, you can't, cold sweat, it's just doom. Everything is doom around you. So I found out as I started ghost hunting that I was sensitive, and not as much of an empath. Well, I guess I am, but I don't know. I'm just really sensitive to, as far as if somebody's upset, I don't want to see them upset. I'm getting upset because you're upset. That kind of thing. I found out that even in traffic, if it's in rush hour, holy hell in a handbasket. I am taking on all of these truckers and people flipping you off, and I'm taking all this in, and my heart was going like this, and I was going, okay, where's the first exit? I've got to get off. I've got to get off. I'm dying. I am dying. So I can control that now. The last time I had one, it was because I was so tired. I went to a 2-night investigation up at Red Boiling Springs with 3 of my buddies, one from the Unseen Paranormal, Eric Freeman Sims. He invited me. And it was at the Thomas House, which is a very haunted location in Tennessee. And a lot of people died there because they thought they were going to get spring water that was the eternal youth, fountain of
Fountain of youth.
Yes. And they were drinking this stuff, and it wasn't good water, and people would come with tuberculosis, and that wasn't a good outcome. And people were coming with other things that they died from. different things. I mean, even like sepsis. If somebody had had a surgery after
Yeah.
appendicitis, I think one was a little girl that had an appendicitis,
Oh, she
and
like bathed in
it
it or
did,
something.
and it just didn't bode well.
Mm-hmm.
So, all those people died, and there's actually two other, or I know one other that still stands, and I believe there was a third one, and it might not be there anymore in Red Boiling Springs, but people would come in from all over just to get cured, and it didn't happen. So, I mean,
This is
that
why
was an
you
interesting
boil your
evening.
water first.
Mhm.
Boil your
Yeah.
water first.
And don't believe that a spring is going to heal you on everything, because it would be great if it did. It would be so great. But then that would put doctors and pharmacies out of business. So you know that they're not going to let that happen.
Mhm.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Ah, no,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Oh,
No.
I'm very pro doctor in the over here.
okay,
So,
okay.
so I mean, it sounds like you get the opportunity to kind of travel a lot, which seems really exciting. Where would you say is like the most fun or like the best place that you've like traveled to?
Oh, one of the most favorite places I've been to, I've only done the little public walking tour, but it was the Birdcage Theater out in Tombstone. I've been there twice, two, maybe no, twice, and it just doesn't get old. It's so freaking creepy and cool and all that good stuff, and I just love it. I would love to actually investigate it. Another one that I went to once, really want to go back, and again only did the public tour, was Alcatraz.
Oh,
Mm.
love Alcatraz.
Yeah, I really want to go back and do that one. But there's
Mhm.
so many. There's so many. And they're even more and more popping up all the time, because people have gotten so interested in the shows and wanting to have their own show and putting it on at their homes
Mhm.
when they shouldn't be doing it. Um, so all these things have started popping out, and things are crazy haunted all around us now, and with some that aren't so great, really not so great. We had one team that came down, and I'm not sure if I can mention the actual TV group,
If you want to
but
mention, I could take it out in post. I could sort of edit it out later.
let's just say that a group came down, and without saying the name, oh, was that a demon? Did you know who it was?
I think so.
I think I know who it
So-
might
I
have
think we
been.
can figure that one
Would you
out.
describe the host as someone who might yell at things that probably don't need to get yelled at?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I hear he has a big museum too
Oh,
of
yeah.
haunted things,
Mhm,
which
mhm.
I would like to go to that. I would like to go to that. Not touch anything, but I do want to see what all's in there, because I know Kevorkian Van is in there, and Lugosi's Mirror is in there.
Oh,
There's a ton of stuff. And one day he's going to get bit if he hasn't already.
Mm.
But after they were here, they came with uh, scheduled 4 days to do the investigation at the old hospital here. And they showed up with a script to investigate. No.
how does that
We
work?
said, yeah,
How does it work?
I don't.
it had nothing to do with anything around here. Nothing. And so after the third person told the main guy, if you just go in there and talk to the little girl, you're going to find all kinds of stuff. And they decided after the third person told them that they would go in, and they did. And they actually did a pretty decent investigation. The only thing that I don't believe from that whole thing was the shadow figure in the basement. There are too many people walking around. They knew they were there, and I think that's somebody outside. Interestingly enough, they had 4 days to put a 40 to 45 minute show together, because you take all the highlights out and use that for your show. But they got finished early. They left their crew, the cameramen, the sound guys, and they went to the Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville.
You have time.
Wow.
It's for a good time. Yes.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. So something dropped off while he was here. Something did drop off of him that wasn't here before, and it was darker than anything we've had up there. So that wasn't too exciting to have. That's not too exciting.
He brought a little something with him.
It dropped off of him, yeah. And that's the thing. When you have people coming in that are investigating so many different places, I don't know if they do any kind of opening and closing. I've not seen them do it. Have you guys? Anybody
I don't think
that
so.
does? I've not seen, and some of these shows might do it off camera too.
I saw one show that was, what was it called? It was like 90 days, or I forget, it was amount of days. And what it was that they basically said that you can't, like you say, you can't do an investigation in 45 minutes. So what they did was they basically brought, I think it was like 3 separate teams into 3 separate locations. And I think they had to be there, I think it was maybe 28 days. And they basically teams had to live in the space for that extended period of time, because they were like, there were some they probably attributed to the Warrens, because let's be real here, everyone just attributes any sort of paranormal thing to them, that like there's a cycle and that things peak at like a 28-day point or something like that. And I remember seeing, like, because the groups and the teams had different sort of compositions of like skill sets, and there was one that like they had a medium on staff, and she was very much like, and we're opening, we're doing this, and like then when she left, she did a little something to just kind of like, and let's just put this away now.
Yeah, because anytime you're talking with spirit, you got to close it too, otherwise they can keep popping through. Not just the one you were talking to. Yeah. And it might be something that you weren't talking to and you really don't want it there.
Yeah.
So always, and what people don't understand too is that Ouija boards aren't just the communication that has caused problems. Because when you think about it, a digital recorder, when you start asking questions, it's the same thing. You're asking questions to spirit. You got to close that too. You always have to say goodbye, or, we're done talking now. Thank you for speaking with us, but we're done. Something. And then end your investigation somehow. If you pray, do a closing prayer. If you don't pray, do a white light ceremony. Do something to protect yourself so you don't have a hitchhiker, because you don't want a hitchhiker. You might think you do, but you're not going to get the hitchhiker that you want. And
no one gets to pick their ghost.
No, but
that's what the Haunted Mansion ride has taught me.
See? And then you've got other people that have these demon and spirit boyfriend and girlfriends.
Ooh,
listen,
saucy.
I would watch that show though. Like
I would too.
I would watch that.
I would too.
Oh my god.
I would too.
My
just to
Demon
see what the
Fiance,
heck.
90 Day Fiance Salem edition. Like
Oh
that
my
is where I'm like.
Somebody should do it. Somebody should do it.
I could see the appeal. Scary.
Yeah.
Say the other way though. How would that work?
Right, the other way. It's like it's you. Well, that's an entirely different show. I'm probably a little too dark for this.
Isn't that the plot of Corpse Bride?
Maybe.
Kinda.
What?
Maybe.
This is slightly off topic, but this is where my brain went. There is someone who I'm not on the TikToks. I don't do the TikToks because I'm a millennial, so I do the reels.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's someone who does the Real Housewives of Salem. And
really?
It is genius. It is absolutely genius.
Can you
I've
start
got to check
sending
them
this
out.
to me?
I
Yes.
will 100%. I'll put them in the team chat.
Those
but
are like the two things that I'm like in love with. Absolutely in love with. The
like
other
I
thing
want to
is
see
like,
the full show.
yeah, the other thing is like wedding shows. I love a good wedding show. And I always joked about either like the brides had to compete by staying in a haunted like house and investigating to get their dream wedding,
Oh man,
or their wedding had to be in a haunted location.
why not both?
Well, so there was
Yeah.
I
Oh,
had this great idea years ago, and I'm gonna say that I had this idea because I'm sure I'm the only person that has ever thought of this, is of doing ghost house hunters. And then the Sci-Fi Channel about like 2 years ago came up with a show called
Oh yeah,
it-
something like it.
something real estate, but he's an exorcist. He's like a paranormal investigator who's also has his real estate license. It's scripted, 100%
Yeah.
scripted, but like brilliant.
No, I would
And
like to
does he,
keep
like-
the
does he go in and like exercise the house before he
Yeah,
sells
it's
it?
like the houses have ghosts and stuff. Like it's like 100. It's not a reality show at all. Like it's if anyone's watched Schitt's Creek,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mutt is the guy. Tim Ronzon's the actor. And he goes in and he like had paranormal encounters as like a child. He's a sensitive, and he just also knows how to like expel ghosts. So he goes into these houses that like no one can sell because they're haunted, and cleanses them and then puts them on the market. I'm like, this is brilliant.
Oh man. I remember when I was a
love
kid and we moved, my family went to see a house that was haunted, and it was the only house and if you know Illinois, if anybody is from Illinois, you know the area, it was on Route 83 or Kingery Highway. And so I remember it's the only house that we went to visit when my parents said to my brother and I, stay here in the car. This one is a different one. And we're like, okay. And they went in and they didn't see anything paranormal, but like this couple was afraid of like, if they didn't legally disclose it, that they were going to get in trouble. So when my parents saw the house, they were half expecting something, but maybe not, and hopefully not. But like, I remember they just came out of the house, they're like, that house is ugly, haunted or not. So we didn't.
It's a law in New York. It's
Yeah,
a legit
in-
law.
I don't
in
know if it's a
some
law
place-
here.
In some places, the law of like, I think it's like the last 5 years, something paranormal has been reported that
have
if
to
you ask a
disclose it.
realtor, but it's not, they don't have to give it right away. If you ask the realtor, they have to tell you.
New York, New York, the realtor has to tell you.
Oh,
There's a
good.
whole lawsuit over like very close to where I live. There was in Nyack, New York. I'll try and find the case, but like there's
I
a
love
legitimate
Nyack.
thing. Yeah, that's where it was. But it was funny because so like the house that I'm currently in, I feel like Frank, you might know this, but this house is from 1890. It was
You
built
mentioned that,
literally
yeah.
by like a Civil
Nice.
War veteran who like moved up here. And I'm like, this house has to have something. It's built, post Civil War, except for the fact that our water supply is, I'm not even joking, run by a Franciscan monastery that's right around the corner. They run our
Really?
community well that supplies water to the house. So I'm like, they're 100%. Some brother is up there blessing the well
the
once a
water.
week
You
or
know it,
something.
yes.
So,
Not letting my house be haunted. That's so rude.
I
was like,
remember you
really,
brought
this
this up, and I remember looking it up to sort of fact check you after the fact, because I was like, there's no way people built their own houses. And then I came across this whole big thing about people used to order houses from Sears catalog and
Yeah.
house
I
them
grew
the
up in.
weekend.
That's
And
how
I'm
the
like,
Yes.
That's literally the development of the suburbs.
yeah,
I'm like,
My
how did people do
my
this?
grandparents, yes. My grandparents, back in the 20s, 30s, late
Mhm.
or early 30s.
yeah, it's like the 2030s was the
rolled their house in on the train
And
over
they
here.
put it
so-
together in a couple of weeks. That's
Yeah.
what people did. For me, it just feels so unheard of. Like, how is
Yeah.
that?
my fun fact, my parents' house is a Sears catalog house, and they put the top, so it's three stories basically in a basement. The top two floors, the first two floors normal. The top one very clearly was put on backwards because the staircase to the attic is in the bathroom.
Oh no.
Oh,
So you have to go into the bathroom, and then there's another little staircase that goes up. Whereas like On the opposite side, there is a small bedroom, which makes a little bit more sense. But also, like, my parents live right on the Hudson River, and there is a tiny window that points to the river, and then a giant window that points the opposite direction to our neighbor's yard.
Ooh,
And
fun.
it was built
that's
in 1919, which was like the peak Sears catalog home.
I remember, yeah. So I fact checked, and I was just taken aback about like how hard it is to get a house nowadays versus not only was it much easier and more affordable, but like you'd get together with your neighbors and everybody would agree on the block to build each other's homes, and they would just make a day out of it and have a party afterward, and then
Yeah.
It's almost like a
boom.
good old-fashioned barn raising.
Yeah,
Like,
Sunday night comes
that's-
around, you all have dinner in the new house, like community, like we don't have that anymore. It's
I mean, like I live in the land of the McMansion, so like they all look cookie cutter. Like you can look down a street and be like, everyone has the same type of house.
you don't need to ask where the bathroom is.
No, you know exactly where it is.
what?
You've been in one, you've been in them all. Like, no, I can tell you
Yeah,
there's a
no, it's
street I
true.
grew up next to that 5 houses on that block are the same, like, stacked ranch house.
Mhm.
But speaking of things, I was gonna say, like, my husband and I have looked at housing prices, and like we've talked about, like, would we move into a murder house, like a house that has had a lot of murder? And we're like,
Listen, I
in this
just-
economy,
in
maybe.
this economy.
We'd be respectful, but like I'm just
I don't know.
How could it, it's
Depends
not
on-
it's not in a con column, let's be honest.
Think about like Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. I mean,
how much is
Long
it?
enough. I mean, like,
Yeah,
what's the
well,
going
I
rate
just-
right now? I mean,
would there be any residual smell and stuff?
Yes.
not this
In that
long
apartment
afterwards.
specifically,
Well,
yes.
okay.
I would think so too.
Part of the reason he was caught was literally the smell. So yes,
Yeah.
you could not have carpeting in that house.
No,
So
that
true
is fair.
story. I used to rent cars before I went out and I bought one. And one of the old hosts on this show, we had hung out for a day, and I rented a minivan just because that's all that was available. And it was the middle of winter, and I went to return it to somebody's random home, and just like, I fill it with gas, you park it back in their driveway, you give them back the keys in the mailbox, whatever. So there's this app that I was using, and I remember dropping off this minivan after having it for the weekend. And I was hungry, so I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna order my Uber to get home, but I'm also gonna look what the food in the area is, because maybe I can wait for an Uber nearby, wherever. And I remember looking at the map of where I was, and I was across the street from John Wayne Gacy's house, which was for sale at the time, and they tore it down and rebuilt it, so it looks like a brand new construction. I'm thinking like, wait a second, and I'm like looking on the map because somebody marked it on Google Maps as like across the street from where I'm
Yeah.
across the street from where I'm standing. And like I ended up like looking at a YouTube video, really cold because it was like winter time, but like looking at like YouTube videos, I'm like, oh yeah, these are the neighbors' homes. Like I'm across
Wow.
from this house. Yeah.
In fairness, they probably had to knock that down to rip apart the
Oh yeah.
land.
Oh, they definitely did.
But Chicago also has a theme of like taking down murder houses. Like the hotel that H.H. Holmes ran is now
Oh,
a
he
post
burned-
office.
But didn't he burn?
It's a
no,
post
They
office.
burned it
post
down.
office.
It is a post office, yeah.
Yeah,
thought it
I mean, he
burnt-
burned part of it
burned
down. They could have
down.
recreated it. They made the Ferris wheel. They could recreate a hotel. I'm not convinced.
I think we're all very sad that no one has been able to adapt Devil in the White City at this point, right? I love
I'll
that
describe that later. I do, getting back to talking about stuff that isn't the housing market. So you've described being sensitive and some communication practices that you've worked with, and I know that you've talked to other people who are also communicative with spirits. Has there been any described communication to you that's like or method of communication that's like really stuck with you, that like you've adopted, or you found like the most interesting way to communicate?
My go-to is a psychic medium I met on a public ghost tour at the old hospital here. And since then, I have done investigations with him. He's done investigations with my group. he we've only known each other just a short few years, but it's like I've known this guy forever, and he's my go-to on anything. He has taught me more than anyone else in the field. So if I have a question, he's always the one I go to. And I'm talking about Mark Elliott Foltz. He's the one also. This guy is so incredibly talented. He does all of the covers of my books and the illustrations in
Oh,
them, and
wonderful.
he's just super talented. And whenever we have anything that comes up that's kind of odd, I'll call Mark and I'll say, Mark, I've got a house that I want you to just think about. Um, do you want to know how many people are in it? He'll say, yeah, give me male, female, how many of them, that kind of thing. I'll say, okay, there was 5. So there's 3 males, 2 older, and then 1 older female and 2 younger ones. And he'll go, okay. And he'll prepare himself, and within a couple of days, he'll get back to me and he'll say, okay, Cyn, he said, he'll go, your whole problem in that house is in the front foyer. It's in the right corner. It's right before you go into the kitchen area, and ask them if they've got a sewer smell coming in. And I mean, he is just boom, 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 right on. He's not missed yet. And knock on wood, I hope he doesn't. But this guy has been incredible. So that's the kind of communication I like having around me. If I can't figure out something, to go to him and get some insight into it, because he can do remotes. He can draw a house. He's in Florida now. So if we're having an event here in Lincoln County, Tennessee, he'll say, okay, just give me a couple days. Let me do my thing and I'll get back with you. And he can draw the house. He can draw the outline, give all the rooms, and he'll say, this is your portal. Here you go. Here's your problem.
Wow,
And
that's
then
amazing.
ask them. Yeah, I was talking to him on the phone one night, and he said, oh, I've got a headache. I don't think I can do anything. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, just, get back with me when you got a chance. He said, no. He said, who's the old guy that's with this woman that we were seeing at this house? She was one of the owners. And I said, what does he look like? And he said, he's got dark hair and he's wearing a wife beater. I know you're not supposed to say that now, but
An
come
Italian
on.
ribbed shirt.
Yes.
We actually
Yes,
have them
one of
here as
those.
A-cut shirts is how they market them
A-cut
here.
shirts, okay.
They
A-cut.
market
It's
them
the A-cut.
how?
Yeah.
They call
A-cut?
them A-cut.
A-cut.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
said a men's tank top, we
Tank top is,
Right?
I think, what I would call them personally.
So
I
he
wear
was
them
wearing
too.
a tank top. Okay. And I said, that's her dead husband. He said, oh, I know he's dead. He said, but I wondered who he was, because he's showing himself as like around 30-ish, and the woman was 70, late 70s, early 80s. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, that's when he was younger, when he looked good, and that kind of thing. And he says, is that his flag in the case? Well, I don't know. Hang on. And so I get on Messenger with the daughter and say, do you have a flag over there? Because wasn't he a veteran? Did he have a flag? Oh, yeah, we got it flagged right here. I'm like, holy cow. So I come back to Mark and go, yeah, they got a flag. He said, well, the flag needs to be saged. That's another part they're coming in at.
Oh.
And this kind of thing. So he's just been unbelievable on some of this stuff. And I find too, what's really weird on my part is if we are together on an investigation, we'll be talking and somebody will ask a question and I'll pop out with something that I have no idea where it came from. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know that. And I think it's because he's kind of rubbing off on me a little bit and pushing some of his psychic stuff. I don't know. I can't explain that part.
Well, I mean,
That's
if
great.
you're around someone who has a certain skill, you can kind of sense the patterns, maybe. You start to say, like, oh, we've seen
Maybe.
this before, so maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
everyone
Oh,
always absorbs little bits of stuff while they're.
maybe. I remember at one investigation one night, one of the guys says, "Well, I know Miss So and So used to be here. I don't know if she's here." I said, "She's upstairs right now," and then went, "Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in." I don't know where that came from, but Mark was sitting right by me, so it was just some kind of,
Hmm.
maybe I know a little bit more at times because I'm around him. I don't know. I know I'm not psychic. I would love to be, but
You
you
said
know,
that you're empathetic though, and you pull in a lot of other people's energy, so maybe that's part of it.
maybe I'm pulling in some of his too. Yeah. I never thought about that. I need to pull in more though.
Well, I have a house in Rhode Island that I definitely need him to take a look into.
He would do it. He would do it.
So speaking of Mark, he was also your co-writer on Web of Terror,
Yes.
which you described as a fiction story, but we all know that fiction's not so close, like not so far away from actual stories. Were any of those stories based on experiences that either you or Mark had?
All of them have some bit of truth in them.
Oh.
Every one of them.
Do you mind mentioning like just one of the stories that like really stand out to you?
Let's see. The one that is upsetting to me is, and that's why I had to write it to get it out of my system, is Trunk of Memories in that book. And it talks about a little girl and her brother playing hide and seek in the basement, and he locks her in a wooden trunk, and they never find her. And it's
Oh.
winter, so when she freezes to death, they don't smell her. And then years and years and years later, she's found. Her little best friend, her little boyfriend at the time, is on the police force and actually finds, helps look for her. But my brother put me in a trunk when I was a little girl and locked me in it, and I could not get out. And when you are between 4 and 8ish, all that kind of stuff is so traumatic, and so everything's so much bigger than you. And I was not a happy camper, and I couldn't do anything about it. So that had to come out and get past it. And have I forgiven him yet? Kind of, but do we talk? No.
Oh.
That
But
makes
I feel
sense.
better about it. Yeah.
As long as you feel better.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, though, in all of your experiences, I feel like we always talk about like what was the most impactful experience or the most, heavy hitting encounter. What was like an encounter that you might have had that was just fun? That was just like a wild time? Because I don't think people ever talk about like, I've ran into a ghost and it was a good old fun, hilarious time. Like
We had a gag, a laugh.
a laugh. Because there's got to be a ghost out there.
I can tell you too. I can tell you one on my co-founder Sean at the old hospital, but the one that actually happened to me was at a residential, and I was going around taking pictures. I knew something was with me, but I couldn't see him, and I just kind of said, "I know somebody's with me. Why don't you go with me to the next room?" And I was taking pictures, and I said, "Okay, follow me." Taking pictures. Going to about the third time I said, "Come with me," the EVP I got later was, "I got better things to do than to follow you around all night."
Oh, wow. Wow, that's incredible.
He was my favorite little curmudgeon-y little old man. The thing that happened to Sean was at the old hospital, and this was before Sean became a believer. So he was still very skeptical about everything, and improving everything was not paranormal, which was good to have. And so we're at the old hospital, and we're on the second floor, which is notorious for things happening. And he had come up with this thing that we were going to sit at the nurse's station until our eyes adjusted to the dark. So we'd gone lights out on everything, turned the equipment off except the K2s, and kept the infrared, all that kind of stuff running, but we weren't watching it. We were just looking down a dark hallway so our eyes could adjust to it. And he, I guess about 10 minutes in, he goes, okay, anybody want to walk down the hallway with me? And two of them said, I'll go. So about two or three of them went down. I was watching the other hallway because things were starting to happen behind us. And a rock got thrown, or not a rock.
Oh.
It was a little piece of metal of some kind. I don't know what it was.
Like a
but
screw or
it got-
something, maybe. Like,
yeah. And it was almost like, why are you guys looking down there? We got stuff back here too, that kind of thing. So I was watching behind and waiting for something to happen. I had the laser grid put up that way. So there was no light going down the other way. So he goes down with these two people. And he gets to past the elevators, and he's watching his shadow. And so he gets up and he turns around, and the two people that were with him are like 20 feet behind him. They're like, like, we're not coming. You just do what you do. We're watching. Yeah, we're watching. We'll be here. And he turns around to the shadow, and he's making fun. He's really just making fun. And he starts moving, and the shadow is moving, and then it starts moving faster.
Oh.
And it's not Sean. And he's like, oh shit. This, okay, that's not me. That's not a shadow of me. And he said all of a sudden it flipped around the wall, went down the opposite hallway, the one that we were staring at in the black. And he came back up, white as just bless his heart. He was like, okay, where's the lights? That kind of thing. So, oh my God, he is the funniest when something actually happens. He's the funniest to have around. It's the best. I love him. I've just about peed my pants 2 or 3 times with him. He's great.
Oh, that's amazing. We are more or less here at the hour. I'm not sure if you had any extra time, but one of the things that we'd like to do is we want to really let our audience know where they can find you and what you're going to be working on, so they know after watching this or listening to us, how to get more from you.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Cyn Shrader Hill author. Elk Valley Paranormal. Elk Valley Paranormal is also on Facebook, so you can find me there. I am on Instagram. I'm on just all of them right now. And as a self-published author, if I don't come on talking about the books, it's really hard to sell. So my books are on Amazon. And oh, you know what? Let me tell you just a little. Can I tell you a little bit about my books?
Yeah, take your time.
Please
Just wanted to let you know.
Okay, I've got all the time in the world, so you guys tell me, okay, that's enough. We've had enough of you. Shut up.
No,
So
you're good.
the third book was actually supposed to be my first one, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. And what
And just
it was
to remind everybody what that is, it's Not Goodbye, Signs from Beyond.
that's the fourth one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I went based on the published dates. Oh, I lied to
Yes.
you.
wow.
I lied. I didn't scroll up far enough.
Joni.
The
I did
third
scroll up far
one
enough.
is They're Speaking. They're Speaking, Are You Listening? My Most Compelling EVPs, which are all investigations I've been on and the voices I caught. And I really wanted that to be the first book, but I could not figure out how I wanted to do it. It has all the information, how I started, how I find the voices in the video, in the audio and everything. And then you can go on elkvalleyparanormal.com to the evidence section, pull down the little drop down menu for They're Speaking, and listen to all of them that are in the book, and there's over 100. And one of them is the little grumpy man that says, I got better things to do than to follow you around all night. That kind of thing. There's another one in there that was at a local cemetery, and I only caught one EVP, but she said, I'm just so tired of this ditch. Uh,
I think you need to have
yeah.
just like a separate little listicle of just like the top 10 sassiest EVPs that you've had.
Oh, I could do that. I could do that, honestly. So,
Mhm.
okay, so that was the third book. The
Okay.
first one was an easier one for me to write. It was still investigations and things that have happened to me. And there's 23 short stories. 18 of them are in my county, Lincoln County, Tennessee. Happened to me, my team, friends around us, and things like that. 5 are out of county. 2 of them are in Lynchburg, Tennessee, home of Jack Daniels. Nothing to do
Mhm.
with Jack Daniels, but it's right around the corner. So
So go
they're
to
in
these
there.
sites and then go to the distillery,
Yeah,
make a trip of
Well,
it.
wait.
absolutely.
Fun fact about Jack Daniels is it's brewed in a liquor-free town or so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
In
just
a
a
dry
dry
town.
county.
the
It's
dry
still a
county.
dry county.
Yep.
But things have changed a little bit because you can actually do tastings now.
Oh.
I wonder if it's
So
because you don't, if it's part of like the admission of the ticket. It's
I
like they're
think
just,
so.
you're not
I think
buying
so.
it.
I think
Love those
so.
workarounds.
There's
Yeah.
but too on the square in Lynchburg there is now a distillery and a winery that you can actually taste and buy. So they might have relaxed a lot of things.
Money talks.
You know it does.
It
You
Money
does.
know it
talks.
does.
It
So
definitely
let's
does.
see. All right. So that was the first book was Whispers in the Dark, True Ghost Stories and Eerie Tales. Second one was the fiction book that we talked about, Web of Terror. And then the fourth one was completely different. And it was just kind of thrown in my lap. It was God saying, you need to write this. And I didn't know why. And I was like, okay. It was signs from our loved ones and deathbed conversations. When someone's dying, they talk to somebody in the room that nobody else can see.
Oh
Near death
wow.
experiences,
Yeah.
things like that. Signs that are left, odors, you smell their cologne or perfume, a song comes on the radio, a picture just shows up that hadn't been around in forever and it's right on the floor in front of you. Things like that happen, even pets coming back. Seeing apparitions of loved ones, dreams, visions, things like that. So that's what this book was about. I didn't have a lot of that. I didn't have it. And so I started this in 2020, and then all hell broke loose, and I lost my motivation just like everybody else did.
Yeah.
Didn't get it back the next year. And in 2022, my friend Valerie, that I get sage and crystals and all my stuff from, goes, how's the book coming? And I said, it's not. And she said, when were you supposed to bring that out? And I said, I really wanted to bring it out in 2020 at Easter and then 2021 Easter. And she goes, you got a month before Easter now. And I said, there's no way. I can't do it. She said, why don't you get started? And she gave me the kick I needed to get started. So I started banging them out over the next 2.5 weeks. And then we lost my mini me, my nephew was only
Aw.
19 and a half years old. He did everything with me. I was training him to be my videographer. We did murder mysteries together. We went to dinner. Just, hey Aunt Cindy, I got a paper coming up. Can you help me with it? Yeah, come on over. Let's talk about something creepy you can write about, that kind of thing. And so we lost him in this terrible accident, and there went motivation again. About 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh, okay. That's why I lost motivation. This book was supposed to be for him. This was his book. That's why his story has to go in this. And it was incredible after he died how much he checked in with. It was just his mom and him, and he was a miracle baby. She wasn't even supposed to have any. She had 5 miscarriages. She was told at 16 she'd never carry one to term. Wyatt stuck, and then she got to have him for a short time. Shared him with all of us, and he was the only grandson. So he was just a good kid. Did working 2 jobs, going to college, give money to his mom to pay bills, you know, just a good kid, and lost him. And so when I figured out, okay, this is his book, that's why, then I sent a word out and told other people on Facebook I was looking for signs, books of or stories of signs. Do you have anything? They came out of the woodwork. I had one come from England. I had all over the United States, and several people. So 50 chapters in this book from all over the place. And it's incredible how many people reached out and had visions of their loved ones, listened to their mother talk to somebody that wasn't there, and then say who it was, and the next night she was gone. And you know, just all this stuff. It went so big that, and I'm not talking about money wise, because that's not it, but for me,
wide ranging,
this book sold more than my other three, because you know, as a self-published author, you don't make a lot, but this one sold more than the first three, and I've already got more than half of a sequel coming out next year for more signs. So if you got any of your listeners that have had any kind of signs, any kind of near-death experiences, any visions, any you know, dad always left me pennies, the feathers, whatever, pets coming back, anything like that, they can send them to me at cynshraderhillauthor@gmail.com. And
We'll definitely
I'll
definitely do that
together.
And I will also say that if we do get a lot of submissions, whoever has your favorite submission, I'll buy them a copy of your more recent book and give it out to them. How's that sound?
And we should throw that email up in the show notes too, just to make sure that people have a nice link
Definitely.
to it.
Oh yes, 100%.
I will
trying to get. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Sid, it's such a beautiful legacy for your nephew to be able to inspire you to go and collect these stories. And like, I think that's really moving. I do want to remind people, it is close to Halloween time, and you know, I'm witch adjacent. I'm not a witch, but it is a time of like thinking about the year. I know in my family we have, I should say my husband and I have a tradition of throwing out the old cinnamon broom and bringing in a new cinnamon broom and wishing health and wellness in our home. So thinking about the death and rebirth and things like that in this time period, maybe considering having stories like this as a form of comfort.
Yes. And you know, right now the veil is thinning. So things tend to happen more at this time of year anyway. I've got my next book coming out. I'm trying my best to get it out before Halloween. So, and it's going to be some of the darker things that have happened on investigation, not demonic, but there are some demonic stories in it that have happened to others. That one was a friend of mine, and he's gone now. So I don't know, it's just the creepier stories though, and that is called Realm of Shadows, True Ghost Stories, coming out before Halloween this year.
If it ends up coming out, let us know. We'll definitely plug it for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'd love to share that with the audience as well. So yeah, great, wonderful things tonight. I just want to kind of let you know where we're at with the time, only because most people like us at an hour. So with that said, one of the things we like to do as a team is we like to have a closing thought, or like a closing, what we want to leave our listeners with. So we like to go around the room, and then I'll close it up. Is there anybody that wants to go first? Or Cyn, would you like to go first?
I would love to go first. Anybody out there that is investigating, please be safe. Always go in with a partner, at least. Never go by yourself. Never investigate by yourself. And be sure to open and close properly. Always look around. Always be skeptical and enjoy it, but be safe with it.
That's wonderful. Who wants to go next?
I'd say normally I have a really try to have a funny, pithy closer, but I think my takeaway for tonight's episodes is just the level of practicality, Cyn, that I think that you bring to the investigations, which I think is wildly refreshing.
Oh, thank you.
And if
Thank
you are ever up in the old New York, let me know, because I would love to like see you work.
Yeah. That
I'm from
sounds great
Sleepy
to
Hollow,
me.
so come investigate Sleepy Hollow.
Sarah from Legit Podcast is actually going to stop in Sleepy Hollow. She's coming up for, yeah, I will.
Put us in
Try
touch.
to get a good bagel.
Get in touch.
I will.
Yes, get a
Definitely,
good bagel.
but I want to go to Sleepy Hollow too.
It's not
Wonderful.
as scary as people make it out to be, but it's fun.
But
it'd be
it's
fun.
fun. The graveyard tour is beautiful.
I used to hang out in that graveyard in high school, so it really is sort of like.
Well, now look at it as a beautiful thing.
Joan, you want to give the next closing thought here?
I would love to give those closing thought. I just want to say thank you. This was a great inaugural episode that I was on. I really appreciate it. Cyn, you were so interesting. It made it so comfortable. And yeah, as I said, consider looking into these short story books. Who doesn't love a short story that gives you a little fright, but maybe a little comfort too? A little cozy spook.
Kimberly, you want to give a closing thought?
Yeah, I'm really interested in looking into especially your work, if it talks about not taking in the emotions of other people as much. And also, I think that 90-day ghost fiance could really be a thing, and I want it to be.
That'd be a really good
Trademark. We're trademarking that now.
So yeah, I'll close it up here. Just in general, Cyn, thank you for coming on. To parallel what everyone said, I think you were an amazing guest. Personally, my closing would be that I feel like so far you've contributed these wonderful things to the paranormal community, but I'm just honestly looking forward to whatever the next big contribution will be. I really feel like you'll have something that's going to be amazing coming up. It's a feeling that I have. I've never had this feeling. James will tell you, he's been podcasting with me the most. I've never had a feeling about somebody contributing something awesome.
Doesn't feel things.
What?
I don't. I'm not a feeler, but I definitely do. I should. So Cyn, whenever you come out with your next book, let us know. We'll definitely plug it. And then whenever something big happens on the horizon, we'd love to have you back on as well.
I would love to come back here.
Yeah,
you guys are so fun. I really enjoy.
Thank you. We try to be a lot of fun, and one of the things that we do a little bit differently is I think that some of the other shows are a lot more structured, but we like to have more just of like a playful, friendly banter here. With that said, thank you for coming on, and for all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. I will personally be bookmarking all of Cyn's outlets, whether it's social media like Instagram, Facebook, wherever. I know that we already have some of those things up on the website, which is latenightlegends.boo, so feel free to check us out there. But once we publish this out, we're gonna put out the email, so if we have any submissions for any experiences we'll be submitting, the best one that she likes the most, we'll give a book out. Definitely hold that to me. So we'll see you all next week. We have some amazing stuff coming on. I also want to say wonderful welcome to Kimberly and Joan, our new hosts. We're going to be adding
Welcome.
at least, I think, one more person in the short run here. So we look forward to that. And for everyone else, hope you have a wonderful and safe week. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for telling a friend. Bye, everybody.
Bye.